Welcome to Gary Grigsby's World of War, a world divided, made by Matrix Games and 2x3 Games, as you can see here. And I am Magican. I will guide you through this game, and let's just watch the intro first. Okay, let's start with a lot of intros and a lot of information here, because this game is a little special. It's not old, but pretty old. It's for 2007, what I remember. And as you can see here, there's a lot of black screen here, and I have actually a top also. But there's a reason for it, because I'm playing the game with a mod put in over, called AWD mod, deluxe version, like 1.047. Why I'm playing with that is because there's a guy who really tricked this, Jesse Brenton or something like that. And the game is, when you download the game from Matrix Games or Civilian Games, then you can actually get, you have to get the first game, and that's the 1.020, not 0.1040 like here. And then you install the game, and then you have to download update, and that's the 1.040, and you download that and install it over. And after that, I put this little mod in over. You can also just use it. You can see it's a beta version, but I think this is the best. You can also use the one called 1.040 and not 47, but he made some changes here, and I really like this mod. There's also different mods where you can go in and have interchange and also airplanes and tanks, stuff like that, in the way they were in the Second World War. I like the tanks and the planes, but I do not like the infantry. They are too small, and as you can see, this is a little bit weird looking like this, but the game was made pretty old, so the setup is not as my screen are, and I will just show you here. You can see here I'm playing in screen mode and not Windows mode, because in Windows mode you will not get this bar, of course, but I have problems turning to the right, so on the screen. So I'm using the Windows mode. It's nothing really, it's just this bar up here. But when you play this game, the graphic quality you can always set to high. It is high. I always recommend it, because even on laptops today you have no problems working with that. But the window size, that will standard be, let's just see here, that will be 1024 times 768. And you can change that to your screen resolution. My screen resolution is 19080, and that is 1080 here. That is my screen resolution. You can press that, go out, and start the game again, and then go in here. If you're using, also in this scenario here, with this mod, if you're using to have the screen mode as high, you will not be able to see the intro. And if I had that in the standard screen mode, you will see the intro much bigger than this middle screen I had here in the beginning. So I hope that explains why. I've also already set these scroll speed. That will recommend that it's always set that if you hold the mouse button over here, you will see how fast the map scrolls. And I lower this better. So I put that on 0.50, and you can also 0.25, stuff like that. You can always have really slow speed. You can use the mouse on the edges, or you can just use the keyboard also. Arrows on each side there and up and down. Message delays, I like the messages, but they can be really slow sometimes. Pop-up region, that's really good. Show where the mouse is, of course. Pop-up delay, and this is just delay of the pop-up. It's nothing really. This one I really like to have larger combat reports, because the delays are not as good as I want them. I want to see my combat screen and see how did I do and stuff like that, and they are actually low. I think it's 5 at the beginning. Show AI combat reports, always good to see how they are doing. And show animation, move animation, also good. Animation speed a little bit down. Play animation speed at 0. You can just change it as you want it to, and you will always be able to just hold the mouse button over to see what is this about. Cold regions, if you have that added, then you will see cold regions on the map, like in Russia and Siberia. It's not really needed, and the rough regions says it's rough. It's not really needed. I just turned them off because it's a little bit irritating with the graphic changes there. But the rest I have on. Strategic move capacity, transport of course, total units in the region, and partisan warning is really good, because if you have infantry in the area, it's only infantry and tanks, stuff like that, you can use it. If you have infantry in the area and you move them out, then the partisan will be shown they can attack, and you will have 3 things. That will be, the first is the infrastructure. You will lose some of the rail maybe, or the industry, or the raw materials. So it's good to have the warning on, and strategic points always good to show that you can see the victory points. But in this game it will not be needed, because I like to play it full, not going after victory points like that, but really just getting the full view of the game and through it here. Actually, I have gone through all of this once in a recording, but I did not upload it because of one thing. I wanted to play the hard version of the game and show you that, but as I started, I thought, no, this is not really good, because you will not be able to see the standard of the game, and that's really important, because the harder version, it's a little bit cheating on the Allied side. They just get better equipment, better use of the different points, and that's the opposite what I like. I do not like the Allies or the Axis cheating, getting better. It's just because I like to play a little bit harder. I like to play with a lot of harder stuff, and because this game is so good, I want to do that. And this game is about one more turn. It really is about one more turn. I will explain that a little bit later after this page here. Show up fire index point. It will show you the fire if you get a ship past a strait and you pass it and there's artillery on the other side. It will attack you. If you do not have this on, they will just attack, and you will say, oh no, come on, that's really stupid. And of course you will know it sometimes. If you know the game in the memory, then you of course will not have this issue, but sometimes if you're tired, of course you will have that. So it's on for me always. Show move path, where you move from through different territories, stuff like that. Or screen animation, I've not shown that. Then maybe someone wants that too. Autosave, no. Up fire warning, sorry, that is the up fire warning. That's not show up fire interdict points. It's just a little bit. It's the same nearly, but not 100%. It shows opportunity fire and indication point. That is how much you will have a chance to win in the fight. And here it's up fire warning if you are trying to move with opportunity fire when you have to move through the strait. That's 2 different things, but still it's some of the same. This is where you attack, and this is where you can be attacked. Music volume, sound volume, mouse click volume, show videos. I like to show the videos when you get Conquer Capital, stuff like that. You can actually also get some updates. I'm not installed it here because I cannot find them again. I have them here, but I cannot find them. You should be able to find where, for example, getting Warsaw in the first move, if you are Axis, then you will have a little bit more video and a little bit better than just the standard. Languages, of course, chat box, reset to default if I have to reset all this. Unit nation flag. You can actually have this for all icons, but I do not like that. I like the graphic instead. I will have British graphic, so I will not have just American graphics. This is the Western area, and one Western allied icon, not it says Western, remember that. So it will only be one, like the Americans, and the British one. I do not like that. I like to show the difference between the US and the British. They are not the same, so that's why I like to show that. Show move, I like to do that. Pop-up map location, that's just where you got the map in the middle here. NATO units, you can have really, this can be like modern. I don't like that. I like this way it is. As you can see, I've not chosen that. And that was this setup. You can also get, this is the production, not production, but choosing which unit you want. The production comes a little bit later. And I like to play as Axe right now. And I will have the ally, of course, in full control with the computer, AI. And I will play both computer controlled and production. The production is what you produce and which industry and stuff like that. If you want to attack another area, of course you want to do that. And then there's different industry that is damaged, you want to repair it, stuff like that. Then it's up to you in this. You can also do that in this, but the production is also producing tanks, even more industry, stuff like that. That's really nice to have, especially where the also for the ally here, that's an important thing to do, because they are really not that good at doing that from Japanese side. They're pretty okay to do that in both British and the Americans. They're quite good. Also the China here, that's a different flag, but that was the flag they used here. And the Russians are also good at doing that. But Japanese, not really, because they're focusing more on America and the US instead of focusing, like I want to do, on the Chinese, because there's some industry stuff like that you can get, and if you just pressure them hard enough, you will get some points there. But you have to be careful of the Americans also, because they do not like you to attack those. I will get into that in the game. You can also have advanced supplies. I'm not playing with this time. I'll just show you the whole standard, and that's why I'm making this recording one more time. And Fog of War, you can also have that on. I will not have that on. I will show you what the game is like. I like to play with Fog of War because it doesn't show the units, but in this standard game it's good to have this on. Off, of course, but so you will see the units. And if I press on this advanced supply, you can get auto supply and area supply, and that I can maybe take a game later and show you that one here. Difficulty level, I will choose normal. Why? Because if you choose harder level, it will just cheat. You will get more here, and they will be better at harder attack and attack help again. And one thing I do not like is cheating. Having the AI cheat, I hate that. If they have to do something, they have to play smart and really good. And in this game, the AI is quite good. It's not really bad. There was a game, this is like a game like Axis and Allies, and there was a game where you had that on a computer and the AI was really, really bad. The game was really, really bad. This is a much better and incredible good game compared to that, and I really happy for it. I would like Gary Grigsby to make a newer version of this game. It was updated like the last 2017 with this add-on, but it's not done by Gary Grigsby. I think there's so different changes here. I would like this game to get a little bit upscaled and a little bit more in the deep of this, but then I also made a game with Gary Grigsby's War in the East. That's a really good game, and of course you can see that, and I have also had that on YouTube, upload a game, and that's of course different, but this is a lot with production also. That's why I really love this game, and this game is really one more turn, like Civilization, where you play that, it's just you can't stop playing, where you play games like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, especially 3, I like that version, and play Colonization, also a Sid Meier game, I really like that. It's just like I can start at 8 o'clock in the evening and end up at 4 in the morning and just one more turn, but then I make stupid mistakes because I'm too tired. And as you show, I have no autosave on, so don't do that, but you can't stop it. I'm sure of it. If you like strategy games like this and build up games like this, you will just have one more turn. I would like to play with standard. You can see that's a little bit different here. If I take computer control, and then I will get, look at that, transport level. That's the only difference. They get a little bit more transport. The Japanese get this now because I want them to take the first part, because they're quite good at that. I just have to remember to remove it after the first turn, else they will just attack the second time, and not that. They don't do that what I want in this game, and sometimes they're quite good, but I have some special areas I want to go through and play the special way. So that's the setup, normal, and here no supplies required. Of course you need supplies, that's standard. No auto victory. I will not have an auto victory date where like it's end of the like in the real war in 45 or August 45. I will not have that end there, and there's also no end date at that, and you have to win, and no special surrender. That's another important thing, because if you attack Russia and as Axis and you go enough in their land, they will make a political event and they will say we will surrender, and then you can attack it a little bit later, but I won't do this. I like to have full attack, as in my War in the East, where I really want to attack and keep on going without the victory points. So I hope it's not too confusing when I pop all these extra things in. So this is the way I'll play. You have in this version, the Deluxe version, as I have here, you first have to install the 20, then the 40 update, and then Deluxe if you want to do that. And you can also have extra add-ons and music and graphic stuff like that. But this is the only 3 standard version, 2 versions, and then this add-on on top. You can also just have the 40 where it's not a beta version, but I like this. There's a little changes. You can also see the changes he had made from the 40 to 47. That is not beta, and I like these things here. There's only 3. If you just install the 1020, 1040, you will get a lot more, but this is the start of the campaign for 39. You will also have a little different, just a lot of other chances to play other areas of the game, but this is just the 3 you really need. A world divided, and why I made this recording a little bit extra, or extra recording, because I chose this before, where the allies are a bit stronger. But when I get into recording, they're not just stronger, they also have harder troops and better troops, and that is not as the standard. It's like, again, a little bit cheating, but I like to take this because it's really challenging. But this is challenging even with normal. But if you play the standard version, that is not that challenging because he has made some differences here. Also, the Italian has like minus in some of their troops because they were not that good. So that's also a good point in this game. I will come into that a little bit later. So I'll just this time take a World Divided standard version, full standard campaign, normal as the game should be. So let's just go in here. And as you can see, this is how I like the map to be. You can see the scroll is not that fast, but not that slow. In the beginning, it was really slow. You can also use the keyboard here, the arrows up and down, and you can also do it really fast. And both of them, look at that. And you can see the British icon and the American icon. So also the areas, the land areas look like British, and here you got the German. I like to play the Axis in this, and maybe because it's more challenging. And you can see here you got the Italians. They are not on your side right now, but you get their pro-axe. You can see that in the neutral state. That's it, pro-axe plus 10. That will give you a lot of supplies from the Axis forces here. That is not on your side in the war right now, but give you supplies. And if you look down in the units display, you can see minus. There's some minuses outside there on the right side of the troops, and that's quite good because that shows you how good their ship was, and the anti-aircraft that has -2, something like that. So let's start from the beginning here. This is the map, and here you got the units damaged and destroyed in this turn, or just the attack you just had. Sorry. Here, that's a lot of things going through here. So this is just the standard. I will show you. This is infantry units, standard infantry units, and they have 14 German on the map now, 2 in production. So this is the map, and that's shown, and this is in production. And you can see all of them here. That's really nice to know. And this is militia. That will help you against the parties and stuff like that. They will only use 1 turn to produce, and these will use 2, but they are much better. But I will come into that again later. Here you do not have any militia troops at all, but you don't have any airborne, and you can see the graphic here on the units are quite good, standard. But you have 1 in production. You got 2 tanks and 5 in production. That's a lot in production, but that's why we're only in summer 39. It's the start of the game, just where the Germans attack Poland. And 5 artillery and 1 in production. Anti-aircraft 4, nothing in production. 2 fighters. You could just hold the mouse not over the planes, but over the number, and it will come up on what it is. And 2 in production. This is tactical bombers, also against tanks and infantry, and no in production. And this is bombers, 1 in production, and 1 in the map and 2 in production. Nothing in compared to carriers and carrier planes. And this is battleship. That's probably the one battleship, the Hat and the Bismarck maybe here. And this is light fleet. I will call them destroyers in this game, and that's easier for me because it is destroyers like that. You also got submarines. That's 1 here, again 2 and 4 transport. And down here, this is supplies, and that's used for everything: movement, attacks, fixing rail, fixing industry, and fixing raw materials if they are damaged and stuff like that. And here you see the Japanese, the same, but they have a lot of militia. And quite surprisingly, they also got like where do we have that? I think tactical bombers and bombers. They have a lot of bombers also. They did have that, and fighters also. But quite surprisingly, they also got some submarines, nearly the same as the Germans had. And when you actually study it, it's actually really, really good, because the Japanese submarines was quite good. They got information from Germans got information from them, so they actually had those in order. And if you look at this United States, you'll say, wow, they got 3, how could they have that? They actually have they had over 100 submarines in the Americans had that, but they were not on the mode in 41 where they were attacked. They were not like really hard fighting, but they had a lot that were really good, but they hold back with the fighting capacity. There was only a little later in 43, especially, where they one submarine got like a whole fleet, 3 transporters, and also one going after destroyer, stuff like that. And the Germans had the Wolf Pack, and it was really going for a lot of transport in the Mediterranean, Atlantic Sea, stuff like that. But the Americans really had a lot. That's why that's 3 here. So it's just information about that. Why this is quite good compared to the historical points too. And even with infantry, they had a lot. Infantry, not the Americans. They only had 140,000 at the start of the war. Infantry, but this is a lot of French troops, also a lot of militia from different part of African nations, stuff like that, and English troops too. So the Germans had the best troops, but you see the Russian also had a lot of troops here. And the Russians did have a lot of troops, more than the Germans thought when they attacked in 41. But they were not that good in the beginning, and everything is at that. And the Japanese also had a lot of troops, but mostly also a lot of militia. So, and you see China also had a lot of troops. They have a lot of big population, and you can see the difference, and the icons are also different here. But I will pass this on to the next, because there's a lot of things to explain in this game. This is what is being repaired and what has been destroyed totally and not able to repair. So you can always go in here and look at that. Here they also made a game that was discontinued, also called World at War, but not a World Divided, where you did not have this ability, you did not have this way of spying. This is Spies, and you can get industrial information about units, how good, like to get better in, what can I explain? I will explain a little bit later to show you what I mean, because it's difficult to explain when you do not have the picture. But here you can always look at this, what it is. Purchase security points, and security points is really good. They are used as a way to know the enemy troops on the front. And here you got the way of decrypting, like Enigma machine, stuff like that, and that's quite good. Also, you will have possibility to plus here. If I press plus now, I will use, and that's also the supply used. So you will not be, you should not do that. You should actually just in the beginning just wait for the production turn, so you can always do that before you end the turn, because you're not sure how many units you're going to use, how much supply you're going to use at attacking and movement. So let's just show you what it says about this. If I can get the mouse to do that, you have to, sometimes you really have to wait a little bit on this to get this to show what it is, but sometimes it's not popping up. But this is like the Enigma, and you can see this is standard. Last time when I took this, that was like 20, really high, and this is the standard of the game. And the Americans, of course, and the Russian had a lot of that. The Russian also discovered that the Japanese was not going to attack Russia, so they had a lot of spies around. That's why they had so many here. So the next is spies in your own country. You don't have any of that, but you can have spies in Japan, they have like good submarines, but they can also discover the spies, and then this number will be reduced. And this is Russia and China and the United States. So you will have that, and that you can plus, and you will get better chance to get information about the troops. I will show you next here. Now I can explain what the spies are used for. The spies are used for upgrades. You can see here, this is infantry units. They have one movement that will not change. They will not get to have 2, 3, or 4 movements. They will just have one in the whole game. But this is the land attack. The first is movement here. You can see if they can go on transport out of the water, stuff like that. That's not known. This is icon for that. I can just show you the ship icon. You can see that how much they can move in the water and how much transport they can carry, this transporter. And of course infantry is not transporter and not ships, that's why. But you can have this number is at land attack value, and Germans had 6. Before this they had the same, but the Russians were closer, and when I choose the more hard game of this, it's like where you have the more challenging against the Axis, and the Allies have more opportunities. And if you are hardcore to this game, I will recommend you do that. And when you think this game is getting too easy, just do that. It's of course better to play against a human. That's much more hard and better to do that. And again, if you have them, you can just start playing, but first learn the tactics. Here you see this is attack value, and this is against planes. When you attack against planes, of course you can shoot up in there, that's why it's only 2. And the Japanese is 5. They were not that bad, the military there, and it's the same as the Russians. The Russians were not that good. That's why it's red. Yellow means on the way to get the next point, 6. Red means just starting, and green means really close to getting. And you can also see land attack has been researched. Over here, this is the radar range value. You can actually see this is the how big range it is. You can only attack one range with this. It's not like something you can shoot all over like missiles, stuff like that. And here, this is also these two, the attack value and evasion. This is called evasion. They are really good to research, because then they can evade and you not lose them that much. And again, Germans is really good infantry in here in the 39, and Japanese is 5, 4, 4, and 4. They are really good infantry troops also, and they are close to 5, 5. And you can see standard. This is neutral territory. They got standard as all. And 4 in this, and you will be able to upgrade this. They will not be able to upgrade anything. They will just be like this in the game. And this is the what it called, yeah, it calls durability value, but how good they are used in like tanks, that has much more durability. Let's just choose one. Nope, they have not. Maybe it's because I'm not sure here. Durability value is the highest on men. I'm not sure what that means actually now. I've never used. You can't change it. I just thought it was durability like armor, but it's not. This is the armor value, and that is where you have the tanks here, where you can penetrate. This is how much you use in industry. I've played this game maybe 100 times. That's not even since 2007, stuff like that, when it came out. I also got the first one 2006, I think, maybe even 2005, I can't remember. But this is really a good game, but I've never used this. I've never thought of this, because you cannot change this. So let's just try to see here. You got the next. This is the militia this will only use, this is using 2 in production. I will show you a little later about that, because here just number 2. How is that? Here militia, that's the same movement, but you cannot change this. You cannot upgrade militia. This is just standard. Everything is standard, only 1 production. But it's good against really against partisan units, and also just so they won't get into the territory without a fight. The tanks, really important in this game. You got movement 2, you got attack land value, and you can see Germans has better tanks in the beginning of 30 now. The Russian will be really fast on the track, and when you reach the areas where they can get a little bit more, like in 41 when you attack, and 42 especially, they will get really high here. Like when you get KV-1 and T-34 tanks in order, they are not just standard and the crew, but they get the crew good education, stuff like that, and also get a lot of numbers in there. Then this will rise a lot quicker. So let's see this. The next one is against air, and this again you can only attack in 1 place. You can move 2, but you have to move through and standard area like an excellent allies. You move 1 area is free, and then you attack. You cannot attack 1 and 2. You only get 1 attack there. So here evasion, and you can see the Russian has the evasion already, and also the English, not the Chinese, and of course the United States. And here what I know, the neutrals do not have any tanks at all. I can't remember any territory have that. And the armor, and of course production, it costs a little bit more, mostly in time. I'll show you again. Artillery, and it's the same. You can see the artillery here. The Russians had, when it was a little bit harder, 8 here, but right now everybody is in the same here in artillery, and also in range value and evasion. You can see the same, and durability. Let's see here. And that's the world standard, 3 normally standard, and 2 in production. Anti-aircraft, the Germans is much better at using anti-aircraft, and they got also 6 here. And why I think they got 6 is because of the anti-aircraft, the 88 guns, where they used them in France, where the Allied had a Matilda attack, just trying to get the Germans to scatter. Then Rommel used the 88 guns, and that is actually an anti-aircraft gun against them with the 88, and really succeeded and really accurate. Destroyed the Matilda tanks. That was really hard to get. And they also got a little bit against, of course, the planes. It's harder, much harder, of course. And this was a really adversable 88 guns. That's why the Germans had this 6 here, and the rest is just 777. The rest is the same here. Just go a little bit faster against land. You can see 6. So right now they are the same here, but again evasion, they are actually better here, but production, look at that, much higher. So sometimes I'm not even researching these guys higher. I'm not using them that much. You can use them, and you can use them of course to island, stuff like that. Here, this will never change. That's the supply units. That will just be like that. Industry. I like to build industry, but as you can see here, this is the evasion for Germans has the same as all the others. Everything is the same except the Japanese. Their industry is a little bit easier to hit, and maybe because they didn't have that much protection on them, and they were just Japan and stuff like that, so I'm not sure of that. And this is the rail line, and also called, for me, infrastructure, and it's the same for everybody. And this is the raw materials, also same as everybody. So that was the bottom line. I will choose the ship line and the plane line now, and you can see here This is the movement speed, and they can really move a lot, these carriers here. And as you can see here, it's standard and all against the planes, and against ships is 3, but here torpedoes. The Japanese was better at torpedoes than everybody else in this in the beginning here, and the same here. At range and evasion the same, and also in durability and production everything was the same, but that was the carriers. Now is the battleship, and that's a little bit different. Now they start to have, like, look at the Germans have 5 in land attack. They can shoot in over land and use them as land attack. They only got few, but they were really good at that time. They were newly built. They only got 2 torpedoes again. And if you look here, the Russians did not have that much durability, and not China either. But else is the same here. Everybody is the same, and production. Look at that production here. So of course the Allies had a lot more, so that's a bit different. And Italians, as I showed you in the beginning, they have minus. So there's some areas where the troops has minus. You can see that on the battlefield. That's really important to remember, to see the minuses there. Then they are really important to have that in calculation. And if you have the light fleet, it's called here, destroyers, movement a lot. And again, it's standard 3-3 and 4-4. And here, the Allies is starting to use against submarines here. So they had the best radar, and that's what they're quite up to fast in the game, and you need to be careful with the submarine there when you're playing the Axis. And as you see here, torpedoes again, the Axis, especially of course the Japanese, has 4, else is 2, and evasion 4-4, and the Allies are having a little bit extra here with research. And of course the Allies had more points to put in research than the Germans had, and the Japanese had, especially Japanese, they don't have that much. And durability and production again really high. Here is a sub. If you look here, the Japanese has much better speed value on the sub, and even torpedoes. The Japanese was really good at doing that, and of course the Allies are starting to have 2 and better, but they will get that later in the game. So you need to have especially either planes or get the fleet up with torpedoes against submarines like here. And again, so you could, as German, have research to get better attack, steal some research. You cannot just ask the research from Japanese, and that's maybe a little bit what I would have done if I made a game. That's why I like to have a little bit extra new game where they could change a little bit, maybe pay them a little bit to get that, or information about something, trade information. That will be a good thing to do that. And again, 3 in production. That's quite high production for submarine, but it's changed from what I think was 2 in the first game, because they can be really hammering the battlefield here with that many. So I think it's right to have that, but again, they're going after this transporters, and this is the capacity, and the Allies will get really high capacity compared to everybody else. But as you can see here, the Japanese is really good amphibious capacity. They can have more on to attack, because that was what they were good at in the beginning here. And else the same is on this list here. The Allies are getting that higher. The fighters, the only fighter that can move a little bit, that's probably because of the 0. They can move 2. They didn't have that much protection, but they had much durability and speed, and the rest only have 1. Germans had really good in air attack, and the same with Japanese. The rest is building, and they will build pretty fast. Especially the Russians will build pretty fast. They will also have a lot of spies in. And the Germans here also got 5 invasion, and on the way to 6. Only the Japanese has 6. They're quite evasive with those zeros in the beginning here, but it's also cost-free in production. This is the tactical bomber like the Stuka, and you can see here the speed, the movement is only Japanese going nearly to 3. It's the same here, same here, same here. Everything's the same except the evasion. Again, the Japanese has 6, and look at that, the Allies also got 6. So remember that for the English and the Americans. And the bombers, the Germans only had 3, Japan has 4 already, and the Allies also had 4. They have more range. German bombers were not that, was mostly medium bombers, not that good actually, compared to the big Lancaster stuff like that, and later the fortresses of the Americans. Let's see here, and they are building up the evasion. Only 3 torpedoes, again 4 at Japanese. So, and production, look at that, it's 4, 4, 4, 4, but they got 5 in cost. But they also got 1 armor value. They are really tough to beat, these guys. So when what they got on the battlefield right now is pretty hard to beat. You have to keep that in mind also in this game. Remember that. And this is of course the update, the mod version. Here you got the planes, the cargo aircraft carrier planes, and it's 2 for all. I like to build that up for a lot in the Japanese here, and then 4 and 5 in against planes, and 5 again against ships, and 1, 4, and the same here. Everything is the same. That was a long go through, but I hope it's just so you can understand this. It's pretty tough when you just go through this alone to understand everything, and so I just want to go through all of this. Here you can see the production. I cannot show the Ally, I can only show you the Germans right now and later the Japanese. But here you see all production, and the red means that they are not active, not at all active yet. So you need to put them active. You can minus here. You cannot just do it here. It's not possible in all production to click and do stuff. You have to choose the different location. So if I minus here, Western Germany, I can right click or left click at it. But right now I can't do anything because this is movement based. So I have to do it in the production time. That's why, but it will still be red in the first turn. You have to undo it so you can get the production going. But here I will just show you one thing, and that was what I talked about. One turn, this is what they're producing, but it will take 1 turn to produce infantry like militia and supplies. But 2, that's why it says 2 turns. It will not use 2 production right away. It will use 1, and next turn it will use 1. And the same artillery, transport, and also anti-aircraft. And you see here, this is like the Stukas and the tactical bombers. They will use 3 turns, and it will use 3 production, but it will use 1 each turn. So, and it will be ready winter 1940. And again, fighter is also 3 turns. In this, not this update, it will be 2 turns only to get it. So, but this is changed a little bit, and I like this change actually also. And the sub was also over here. But then you can see that this is actually a battle fleet, a battleship. It will actually, normally it will be up here, but it has been moved all the way down here. Of course, it has been produced for the war, start of the war. And you have the tanks and the aircraft carrier planes, and you have the bombers. And as you can see, it's really 2 extra turns to get parachute troopers. And this is the light fleet, and as I call destroyers. And here you got aircraft carriers and industry and battleships. So you got the different troops here and different units. But to see all of them, you can just press on the flag, all production, and this is all production also for the the countries you occupy. And here is manpower. And the manpower is really important. If you play the harder version, they will be low, and if you do not have manpower, you'll not be able, even if you have production and raw material, you'll not be able to get these units. So and this is for each turn. You have to have manpower, not forgetting all that. I will show you a little bit later too. So, and you can also press, but that is in production. Here you got the research, and that's also in production. That's just a little bit bigger map of the research. This is 6 out of 9, and then you will get 6. Sometimes they will actually go, if you have only 8, sometimes they will actually get that, even you only got 8. And that's a little bit different. It's like when they are faster and producing, stuff like that. It's not that often. And here you just got, just got the evasion here. So again, it's the same movement here. And that's the invasion. It's opposite. This is actually the tank. Before it was like showing like land attack here and evasion here. Here you got the opposite, evasion here and land attack here. And this is if you have transport ships where they are. Yeah, you can also get more on the ships with 3, and the allied, like I showed before here. If you have this transport, the Allied had also 3, but working on it, and the Germans are also working on it, but the Japanese has more. So you can see that that's what they have. And this is evasion. That will cost 12 to have more evasion on this artillery and anti-tank, anti-aircraft. And you got 7 and only 6 to have that. But it's a lot in the beginning when you only got 20 and 90 raw materials. This is raw materials, it's industry, and this is manpower. Just forgot to say these 2. And you have to have each of them. You can't just have... the Japanese has, in the beginning, do not have that much raw material. They have a lot of industry. So they will not be able to be used because they cannot use the raw material. These has to be aligned, and the same with the men. You have to have men, but you do not have to have men with research. You can use that without research. So that's also a good point there. And let's just see here. You can see the difference. This is special for German technology breakthrough in jet engines. Get 25% chance in 43, and Allied technology breakthrough in prox fusion flag, and then we got that in the 43 too. Soviet technology in rocket artillery because they had the Katyushas. That's 15% in 41, and that will change all the time. Breakthrough infantry anti-tank rockets in 20% in 42. And the snorkel as called submarine 20, and you can see the difference here. Torpedoes, breakthrough in landing craft, high-risk boat, and that's 75%. So they will pretty much get a lot of that here in this. They will raise quite a big amount there. So sorry for that, I'll just show you here. And the last, breakthrough in amphibious landing ships, also get a lot of that. That's the same both in landing craft and amphibious. So that's just a show of that. Next, here you see this is the land area. This is what we are here. This is the production where they have raw materials. 10 plus 10 is 20. What's used, stuff like that. 11 here, and this is how much you get and extra points. And down here you have the areas where you get the different production. Industry 10, 4, 2, and 4. And again, what you're producing of units, and you can see the units over here. Not using this that much. This is just a quick overview. I'm not using this too much actually. Here you got where you can see you got some raw materials not being used in Eastern Germany. And you can fix that, but you can also see it on the map. Eastern Germany, you can see it here. You can right click it and then it can be ready, but that will cost 3 times extra to get this raw material ready, and that's quite a lot in the beginning. But I can just show you 1 click and 2 click, then it will take 2 times extra, and that costs like 10 each. For next time it costs 10 and 10, that would be 30 in all. I just did it now. It's good to get raw materials, especially later. You will have the industry, because the industry will produce higher and higher. In the beginning you get 3, and after 41, I think, something like that, 40, 41, you'll get 2 and 3, and the Russian will get also that. So you will lack raw materials instead. They will be better to produce in the industry there. You can see the industry. And that's just an overview picture of it, so you don't have to look at the map and find it. I use this a lot sometimes. Other times I do not use it that much compared to what I have. Here you see the different production. You can see the gray areas here. That's industry, and you can see the Japanese and the Russians. You can see they got a lot. 41. They are starting to get a lot here, especially in this area. And the Chinese do not have that much. The Allies has insanely a lot. So you can see they got a lot, 88 compared to 28, and that's the summer here. And you can see, if you just, this is turn 1, but you can see the difference when you go into the game. You can also see the different points here, and the point is used when you do not play, when you play at points and not play for the full victory. But it's nice to have a view here and see how it changes in different turns, but that's just cosmetic. Here again you see the different transport, and how much you can transport with the rail, how many points you have left, and this is production total, raw material, manpower. You can see Western Germany has a lot. Eastern Germany do not have that much, but Western Germany has the most. Infantry, industrial complexes, raw materials, different areas, and manpower also. And this is the population of the manpower. This is the manpower ready for war. And this is the transport, the rail units, and this is rail units that's current. And this is partisan, and that's of course no partisan in Germany. Here you got something I'm using in the beginning of the game. You can see the difference. The ProAxe is light here. You can see that. This is ProAxe, and you can see if they are not, if they are Pro Air. The ProAxe is here and the Pro Air light here. That's what it. No, the ProAxe is here, and this is the Pro Air light. You can see down here. Sorry, it just showed that. So when you're playing Germany and also Japan here, then these are getting you fully. All the industry, all the resource they have is put into supplies, and you will get supplies, and that will be shown later on. But here when you have like learning acts, then you get half of it, and here you will get nothing because it's neutral. But as you see here, Italy, Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Finland. Finland will change when Russia do something against them, of course, and trying to press the border. And the Bulgaria will do that the same. Hungary will do the same when you move down in Yugoslavia, and that Romania will also do that. But they will get extra militia when the Russians try to push their border there. And as you can see, of course, these lands are in alignment. They are actually not pro or anything. They are just foes. Yeah. And if you look out here, you can see the different production value. That was said before. They got 2 times industry. It's not mean that they have 2 industry. It means that each industry is 2 times. So the Germans, the Japan, Italy has 2 times. Soviet Union only has 1. United States has 0 right now because they're not even in battle. France have 1, 2. So that will change really fast. The English troops will, of course, also have that a little bit. Let's see here if I can find them. There we go. UK got 2. Canada also got 2. So the rest is like that. You can see that means here you can actually bribe them a little bit. You only get one chance to, I call them bribe, but it's trade agreement. And you want trade agreement with the ones that has like good industry and is strong. I will never choose Yugoslavia. You'll probably attack that. But something like Persia or even Sweden, Turkey, Greece will also be. You can see that's in the middle. But Sweden would not be a bad one to have. But you can see the Swedish actually have learning acts. And why do they do that? Because they did trade with the Germans with the raw materials, iron ore and stuff like that. So I would choose something like Turkey. And trade agreement was refused. So that cost actually 5 points. That's quite high. But I like to do that sometimes and other times not. But Turkey has a big production going on, so it will not be that bad. But it only costs 2 to do that. So let's see here. Turkey 2 and nuclear 5, 5, 5. So over here, that's really, really, really important. This is just agreements with and war with the difference, but here it's really important. So you see here 0. When you go out with your submarines, the submarines will get these ratings up, and when they reach 30 in that area there, then they will get 2 in production for each industry. And when they reach 40, they will mobilize and go to war, I also think. And 45 they will get 3. And the same with the Russians here. When they get issues there with Germany, then with 13, already 13 points, they will get 2. And 40 at war and 45 they will get 3. So it's good to remember that. If you keep that down, they don't get that much production. And it's really important. Over here, you can see what they already got. You can see here, Soviet forces attack Finnish border region, +2 in Finland, 75%. And Russian forces on the border of Romania, that's 75% a chance also. And that's 4 militia extra in Romania. That is why these guys do not like them that much, learning acts, and also Romania learning acts. So this is just the way this has been made, like, and then you can see here the different things here. Italy declares war on the Western Alliance, +2 militia in Tobruk, +25% for Yugoslavia. And that's also a good thing to know that they will probably go over there. Italy force attack Greek border regions, and Greece shift pro-allied 2 militia in Greece. So all these can happen. Sometimes they happen, sometimes they do not. But over here, that's 100%. Spain responds to occupation of Portugal and joins the Acts, +4 militia and 15 supply, 30 for each UN non-militia garrison in Portugal. This is not happening that much, this one. V2 class 1 Western Allies if they conquer Spain. So that's also a point. Victory Allies declare war on Acts once France is liberated. Russia responds to occupation of Istanbul, Turkey, Northern Persia or Afghanistan. Soviet Siberian garrison will be used starting in 43. These will happen, but this is not happens that much. I'm not seeing that so many times happen in this game. But the rest is percentages. Acts, conquest of key British stronghold, London, Cairo of Gibraltar, shift Spain, pro-Acts. That's of course good, but London, Cairo and Gibraltar, yeah, it can happen. And of course Cairo and Gibraltar can really happen, but mostly Cairo. And victory controlled Madagascar agrees to resupply Japanese naval forces, +2 militia and 10 supply. This happened quite often. And also this Portugalese Arizona to British US must be at war, and Portugal allied learning to enable, and that happened in the war, so, and that worked actually for them. So, and this US response to Japanese advantage in China reduces gift by 2 Fudo temp. This is like something they get from the US. That is changed in this mod here, so they don't get that much. So it's just good to know. Let's see here, and that's this one, this one. Okay, this one is just to see the victory points, and here you got the main fleet of Leningrad, and you can see also here main ports, Germany, and that's a small one. That you can see the battleship, a lot of things here, and ships. This is the ports. This is the capital with the star around, and these are used if you were in production in just points. Then you will get points for getting these areas, and also in this mod you get more areas here. Some of them they're built into more areas, and that's, I like that, so you don't just have 1 or 2 areas and attack through fully. So this is just this, so you can see without anything on the map. Let's see here. This is supplies, stuff like that. I can't remember. I'm never using this actually. This is the areas of the lands. You can see which one is having what also there. It's quite good sometimes to view this to see if you can land there, if you have to plant something and land in the Allied territory. So and this is the rail, how many rail there is, industrial resources, raw materials, manpower and stuff like that. Sometimes it's good to view, but I normally just look at it by viewing here. You can see in the sign there, population 2, resource 1, prop pool. But if you want a whole picture, you can do that. And again, you have to click on this. And this is if you want to transport supplies from one area, one ally to another ally. You can do that normally, but not right now. But this is quite, I like that. You can do that, but I think you can first do it when they're close to each other, something like that. I'm not using that much in the beginning at all, and sometimes I'm even not using it because I'm controlling both, so I have a good time in controlling. Here you can zoom the map out. I'm always using that. And here you can replay last turn. There's been nothing to replay, and you can just see here. And here you can see game options, and you need to change this after the Japanese first turn. Maybe you will really be irritated about that. Here you will go out of the game, and I will say no. And here you can save the game, and here you end the turn. Not the full turn, but just like in this phase turn. So this was the information about how to start. Next time I will explain how to do the battle and start battling a little bit. I will just show you a little bit here. Up here you can see game ends, decisive, victory earned, summer, decisive allied, subject allied. We will not use this decisive axis because we will just fight to the bitter end. On this battlefield I will show you a little bit later about the area, stuff like that. Now this was all the icons up here, and you can see it's summer 39 right now, and the Poland has just been attacked, just the border, not any troops in yet. So thank you for watching this long introduction, but it is needed when you play this game, so you have like fully understanding what to do in this game. But next time it will be the fight, and then the production turn. This is the fight turn, and the next time will be production. You can always repair stuff here if you want to, but you can never produce anything right now. That will be next turn. So thank you for watching, and see you then.